All right, buckle up, buttercups. This ain't your grandma's bedtime story. This is about a trip I took, a one-way ticket to the other side, and let me tell you, it changed me more than a double shot of espresso ever could. It's the kind of experience that rattles your bones, makes you question everything you thought you knew, and leaves you staring at the world with brand new eyes. Before I dive in, drop a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from. City, country, whatever. I want to know who's listening, who's ready to have their perspective shifted. I'll be reading them all because trust me, after you hear this, you'll want to talk about it. My name is Emily, and I'm 61 years young. I live in Portland, Oregon, surrounded by rain, coffee shops, and enough bookstores to make a bibliophile like me weak in the knees. For most of my life, I've been a writer. Words were my bread and butter, my air, my everything. I crafted stories, spun tales that transported readers to different worlds, made them laugh, made them cry. It was my passion, my purpose. But lately, the words had dried up. The well had run dry. I was staring at a blank screen, day after day, feeling emptier than a politician's promise. Writer's block had taken root, and it was strangling the life out of me. I felt disconnected, like I was just going through the motions, churning out generic drivel for a paycheck. My inspiration had vanished, along with that spark, that burning desire to tell stories that mattered. I was losing myself in the haze of mediocrity, and it scared the living daylights out of me. It's like the universe was playing a cruel joke. The one thing that gave my life meaning was disappearing right before my eyes. I started questioning everything. Was I too old for this? Had I lost my touch? Was it time to hang up my keyboard and embrace the quiet life of a cat lady? Not that I'm against cats, mind you. Spiritually, I was in a dark place. I'd always been a bit of a free spirit, not particularly religious, but always open to the mysteries of the universe. I believed in something bigger than myself, some kind of higher power, but I didn't have a name for it. Lately, though, even that vague sense of faith had faded. I felt adrift, lost in a sea of uncertainty. My writing was all I ever wanted to do, what made me feel alive, and now that was dying. I longed for that connection again, that spark of inspiration, that feeling of being part of something larger than myself. I yearned to feel the magic of storytelling again, to lose myself in the worlds I created, to touch the hearts of my readers. It's like a hole that just keeps growing the more I try to ignore it. Then came the snowstorm. Portland doesn't usually get hit hard, but this one was a doozy. Visibility was near zero, the roads were slicker than a greased pig, and the wind was howling like a banshee. I probably shouldn't have been out there, but I was desperate. Desperate to escape my empty apartment, desperate for something to jolt me out of my funk. I was headed to a small cabin that I would rent out on the outskirts of the city, in hopes that the change of pace would help me find inspiration again. I don't remember much about the accident itself. A flash of blinding white, the sickening screech of tires, the crunch of metal, and then nothing, just silence. According to the paramedics, I was clinically dead for 8 minutes. 8 minutes without a heartbeat, without brain activity. 8 minutes spent on the other side. The first thing I remember is floating. Not like swimming, but like drifting on a cloud. I was above my body, watching the paramedics frantically working on me, their faces etched with concern. It was the strangest sensation, detached and yet intensely present. I wasn't scared, though. There was a sense of calm, of peace that I had never experienced before. Then I felt myself being pulled forward towards a light. Not a harsh, blinding light, but a soft, warm glow that emanated pure love and acceptance. As I moved closer, the light intensified, and I found myself in a place that defied description. It was a realm of stories, Imagine a library that stretched on forever, with shelves upon shelves filled with books that shimmered with their own inner light. But it wasn't just books. The air was thick with narratives, with voices whispering tales of love, loss, adventure, and everything in between. The very fabric of this place was woven from stories. And then I saw them. Figures emerging from the swirling narratives, faces familiar yet somehow different. They were writers, storytellers from across time and space. I recognized some of them: Hemingway, Austen, Tolkien. But there were countless others, faces I didn't know, voices I'd never heard. They gathered around me, their eyes filled with warmth and understanding. They knew my struggle, my creative drought, my sense of despair. They had all been there, in that same dark place, wrestling with the demons of doubt and insecurity. One of them, a woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile, stepped forward. "Welcome, Emily," she said, her voice like a melody. "We've been waiting for you." "Waiting for me? What is this place?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "This is the Well of Stories," she replied. "The place where all narratives originate, where inspiration flows freely. You have come here seeking guidance, seeking to rekindle your flame." "But I don't understand," I stammered. "I've lost my way. I don't know how to write anymore." She smiled. "You haven't lost your way, Emily. You've simply forgotten who you are. You've forgotten the power of your words, the magic that lies within you." Then came a parade of writers, each one embodying the passion and light that I lost. Some were famous, others were not. Ernest Hemingway, or at least some spirit embodying his work, spoke with the boom of a thunderstorm. "Write what you know, kid, but know it well." Jane Austen stepped forward. "Observe, immerse, relate." Everyone has a story within them that is begging to come out. They shared their stories, their struggles, their triumphs. They reminded me of the importance of telling the truth, of connecting with readers on a deep emotional level, of using my words to make a difference in the world. One older gentleman smiled at me and held my hand. "Words are like a bridge that connect the spirit world with the world of the living. When you find the bridge, you find your connection to God." "But how?" I asked, tears welling up in my eyes. "How do I find that spark again? How do I overcome this fear, this doubt?" The woman smiled. "Look within, Emily. The answer lies within you. Remember why you started writing in the first place. Remember the joy, the passion, the sense of purpose. It's still there, buried beneath layers of fear and insecurity. You just need to dig it up." She paused, her eyes filled with a knowing look. "And remember," she added, "inspiration doesn't come from isolation, it comes from connection. Connect with others, with the world around you. Listen to their stories. Learn from their experiences. That's where you'll find the fuel for your own creativity." Then, a spotlight focused on one figure in particular. The man was average size and height, nothing extravagant, and yet I sensed that he was a teacher. I had a feeling he was there to help me get over my writer's block. He walked up to me and looked deep into my eyes. "Emily, I want you to listen to me carefully. The power of words has no limits. Words can heal, words can destroy, words can create worlds. But their true power lies in their ability to connect us to each other, to the divine." He continued, "You see, the spiritual realm and the earthly realm are not separate. They are intertwined, interconnected. Every thought, every word, every action has a ripple effect that extends far beyond what we can see or comprehend. When you write with intention, with love, with a desire to serve, you are tapping into that divine connection. You are channeling the energy of the universe into your words, and that energy has the power to transform lives. He showed me a vision. It was like I was seeing a glimpse of heaven, or the kingdom of God right there in front of me. Everything was vibrant, full of light and love. I saw people laughing, dancing, creating beautiful things. I saw angels singing, their voices filled with pure joy. He smiled at me. This is the reality that exists beyond the veil, Emily. This is the world that we are all a part of. And you, as a writer, have the power to bring a piece of that world into the earthly realm. You have the power to inspire hope, to spread love, to awaken people to their true potential. The key here was connection. The writers were not solitary figures. They were interconnected, feeding off each other's energy and inspiration. He showed me another vision. It was a vision of my own writing, but transformed. My words were no longer just words on a page. They were living things, imbued with light and energy. They were reaching out, touching the hearts of readers, inspiring them to live more fully, to love more deeply, to create a better world. He looked at me again, his eyes filled with compassion. Don't be afraid to embrace your power, Emily. Don't be afraid to use your words to make a difference. The world needs your stories. The world needs your voice. He then began to speak about the relationship between God and the world of writing. God is not some being that lives outside of our reality, but a being that lives through us, as us. He then asked, how can the writer, as a conduit for God, unlock the creative potential that He has given us? He answered his question with an inspiring message. You must write like God is watching, because He is. He is watching through the eyes of the soul you are inspiring. He is watching through the creative potential that He has given you. When you align with God's will, words become like gold. As I took in the scene, I began to realize that indeed inspiration does come from within and from our connection to others. It's not a finite resource that can be depleted. It's an infinite well that is constantly replenished by the flow of life, the energy of the universe, the love of God. The only limit is our own willingness to tap into it. He spoke one last time. Remember this, Emily. You are not just a writer. You are a storyteller, a weaver of dreams, a messenger of hope. Embrace your gift and use it wisely. The world is waiting for your stories. And with that, the light began to fade, and I felt myself being pulled back to my body, back to the earthly realm. I woke up in a hospital bed, surrounded by beeping machines and concerned faces. The snowstorm was over, the roads were clear, and I was alive. The doctors called it a miracle. They couldn't explain how I had survived, how I had come back from the brink of death. But I knew the truth. I had been given a second chance, a new perspective, a renewed sense of purpose. The writer's block was gone, vanished like a bad dream. The words flowed freely now, pouring out of me like a river. I wrote with passion, with joy, with a deep sense of gratitude. I wrote about my experience, about the realm of stories, about the writers I had met, about the message I had received. My writing transformed, becoming more authentic, more vulnerable, more powerful. I connected with readers on a deeper level, touching their hearts, inspiring them to live more meaningful lives. I had become a conduit for something larger than myself, a messenger of hope, a weaver of dreams. I started a writing workshop where I shared my experience and helped others to unlock their creative potential. I encouraged them to connect with each other, to listen to their own inner voices, to embrace their unique stories. I realized that my near-death experience wasn't just a personal journey. It was a gift, a message to share with the world. It was a reminder that the spiritual realm is not some distant, abstract concept. It's a reality that is always present, always available to us. And that we, as human beings, have the power to connect with that reality, to tap into its infinite wisdom and love. and to use it to create a better world. So, here I am, years after that fateful snowstorm, still writing, still sharing my stories, still striving to make a difference. I'm a different person now, transformed by my experience, filled with a renewed sense of purpose. My life before the accident was like a grayscale photograph, lacking depth and vibrancy. Now, it's like a Technicolor movie, filled with beauty, wonder, and endless possibilities. What I learned on the other side is that connection is key. The power of words is unlimited if we use them to spread God's message. My new life's purpose is to help others remember how to connect to the spiritual realm. And that's the message I want to leave you with today. Don't be afraid to explore the mysteries of the universe. Don't be afraid to question your beliefs, to challenge your assumptions, to seek out new perspectives. The answers are out there, waiting to be discovered. But most importantly, don't be afraid to look within, for it is within ourselves that we find the greatest truths, the deepest wisdom, and the most profound love. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it has touched your heart, inspired your soul, and encouraged you to embrace the magic that lies within you. Now go out there and create something beautiful. The world is waiting for your story. Now think about your own life. Where are you disconnected? Where are you searching for inspiration? What message do you need to hear? Let me know in the comments. Maybe, just maybe, we can find the answers together. And hey, who knows? Maybe your story will be the one that inspires someone else to take their own leap of faith. The world needs you, so don't be afraid to shine.